What's going on, everybody? Mezariah here, and I'm back with another video. Today's video, I want to get into something really different, kind of a piggyback from the last video but I made about letting go, and this is about there's a lesson in everything that we do. And before we start, I want to ask you guys to please like, comment, subscribe to my channel, and share my videos with whoever. If you find it edifying for you, if you find it helping and nurturing and assisting in whatever development that, or whatever part of your development that you are in, please feel free to express yourself through sharing it with other people. And I want to get into something that I realized that Yah has always dealt with me about, and he has been dealing with me about it for a long time. Because sometimes we get caught up in the warfare and get caught up in inconveniences, and you'll end up complaining, right? And one thing you don't want to do is murmur too much, like the Israelites when they were exiting, or they were fleeing Egypt from their captivity, and they were murmuring, and God made them wait 40 something years, I think 40 years, and they only had to wait, was it 4 days or 4 years? However long it was, they had to wait. Their wait got extended because they kept complaining. They didn't want to take the route. They were thinking about going back to Exodus. They were mad at Moses, and they was just like, man, what is this? Why are we going through this? Why are we, you know, having to deal with all of these afflictions? If God is as real as he say he is, he would get us the way he is, and all of that stuff. And he called Israel stiff-necked people. He called us stiff-necked. And I realized that when you complain, you forget the lesson in everything that you do. And it's so amazing when you actually get the revelation once you stop complaining about why God does certain things. And it's quite funny. When I was working about 3 months ago, our job called us in for overtime. And I was like, why are they calling me in for overtime? Why are we here? Even though I'm a person that does overtime all the time. But that particular day, I just didn't feel the need. And that day was a special event. It was a graduation day, and they needed us to be there. And I was just like, okay, why are we here? Because when we got there was no need for us. It was kind of just pointless. So we just got, we got up out of our beds early, 4 hours extra early, to get here and have nothing to do, to work, to help, assist people and stuff. And I was just like, God, why am I here? Why am I here? What was the point of this? What was the point of this? And then I didn't realize that it had just dawned on me that God was trying to tell me, he was trying to make it so apparent that I had graduated spiritually. He had wanted me to know that I had graduated spiritually because I had passed a test. I had passed a major test in my life. Right before that, something I stood on business about, and I didn't renege on what I stood on, right? And right after that, that's when, I had to go into work to do that overtime. And I'm just like, this is so pointless. And that just goes to show you, sometimes the more pointless it seems, the more purpose there is in it, with God backing it for some reason. Everything that you do everything you go on about your day, or whatever thing that you are doing, most of the time there is something to it, especially when you didn't even initiate it, when God just has you doing something, when you're mandated in a sense sometimes by another force. You see what I'm saying? So this was something I had no control over. I had to. This was required, mandatory overtime. And when God wanted me to realize what was going on, he wanted me to see that I was being initiated in the spiritual realm in the graduation. And then I got another word confirming that I was graduating. you know? And that was just confirmation of how the small things that we do, we do about our day is always a lot of purpose behind what we have doing, what God has us doing, excuse me. And he continuously does that. And when I realized, I was like, oh man, y'all forgive me for complaining, forgive me for talking and crying about that, because that was what you were showing me. And I sometimes forget how intentional God is. And we forget how intentional God is. And and we complain, and we don't realize that God has really a reason for him doing everything. So anything that comes about your way, you have to remember to not complain. You have to remember to not allow yourself to fall in that trap of crying and crying and crying. Just being it's a reason why you're supposed to be grateful for everything, because you don't know what's behind that event. You don't know what's behind the actual doing of Yah. You don't know what he has planned. Every single time I start complaining and complaining and complaining about one thing, I get humbled every time. And I was crying about the VA tags, right? I'm in Baltimore, and I have VA tags. A lot of people in Baltimore have VA tags, and we have the VA tags because Maryland is so expensive. Maryland is so ridiculous with their fees, and when you are trying to drive and you're trying to get on the road, they make it so hard for you to just, you know, drive your car without having do a bunch of inspections and getting cleared and getting insurance and all of this, right? And I have insurance, I have my VA tags, but I was one of those people that went on about, not feeling like it was fair that Maryland can make all these laws and, dictate all these things and force people to do all this stuff just to be able to drive on the road. But then I had to really dig deep. The once I like kind of stopped complaining about it, I was just like, hold on. We're at the end of almost at the end of a year, and we have to put things into perspective. Everything is spiritual. Everything is intentional. So now that I'm about to get my Maryland tags switch over, I realize that I have to get an inspection. I have to get inspected. Now that means God is inspecting our lives. It's quite literally, He's inspecting our heart. He's inspecting our intentions, our motives. And I had to realize, wait a minute, that's why everything that is spiritual manifests in a physical way. So I have to do this because I have to get the inspection. If I'm getting an inspection spiritually, then I'm going to get an inspection physically. And it's just going to mirror each other. So I'm here to pass the inspection. I pray and hope to pass the inspection, like I hope and pray for everybody else that is switching over to that Maryland tags to pass that inspection. Even though they probably think it's just a regular physical inspection of their car, and it's really not. It's always spiritual implications to everything. So now I'm here in my mind saying, God, please forgive me. Again, the same thing. Forgive me for complaining, because there was something way bigger than all of this. And that's the whole thing about it. You have to realize there's a bigger picture on the other side of everything that you're going through, everything that you're complaining about. Even with the Israelites, they were complaining about leaving Egypt, and they didn't want to. They wanted to go back. The whole time it was something so much greater on the other side for them. And they wasted years and years and decades of, not making it to where they were supposed to be in time. And this is why, like, I always stress, let it go. This goes back to my word yesterday, let it go. You have to let go and let God. I mean, we hear that a lot, but it's a real thing. You let go and let God, because the more you do it, the more God will keep reminding you there is a reason for you to go through these things. So you can complain all day, but He's always going to humble you with understanding of why it's happening, or why you're doing it, why you are going through the process of whatever you're going through. So instead of complaining, always look at the brighter side. That's what we call sometimes optimism. Optimism is not really faith, because I don't know if optimism really has a strong foundation. Everything happens together for those who love God and are called according to his purpose. We don't put it in motion. We don't actually apply these principles to our life, these verses that we read. We don't understand how real they are, how intentional they are. God's words are bond. His words are very intentional. So even with the state, right? The state is doing all this evil stuff. Maryland, the state of Maryland, all these other states, they making you do this, they making you do that. They forcing you to pay this, they forcing you to pay that. But God turns it around and gives it purpose. He gives those evil things that these state officials and these politicians that they put in place, they think they're trying to control us through the money and through the resources, and trying to make us, puppets, and we can't do anything without their permission. Okay, but God gives all of that purpose. He gives all of that purpose, and he always turns it out for it to be a lesson in it. And now when I submitted myself to, to remember that, yeah, okay, I'm out of VA tags now. Now I can get the Maryland tags, and now my life is about to be inspected by God. He's about to see where I need to work on some things, what I need to fix, and when you bring your car in for inspection, you have to get things fixed, and the things that you have to work on spiritually is going to manifest into your car, or where your life is going, where your life is headed to. So now he's going to give you a report spiritually, and it's going to manifest through that car shop that you go to. And that's how we have to look at things. We have to look at things with the spiritual lens. That spiritual lens gives you the faith to keep on going, because now we connect everything. Instead of just having one layer of understanding, a superficial understanding, it gets us, that other layer gets us deeper into the motivation, the encouragement of keep going, of there's a bigger picture, there's a bigger reason for all of this, there's a bigger purpose in all of this. So I'm gonna cut this video short, guys. I just wanted to put that out there to give you guys some encouragement to understand that everything is spiritual, everything happens for a reason. And like I said, Romans 8:28, everything happens together for those who love God and are called according to his purpose. So there's purpose in everything. There's a lesson in everything. So whenever you probably don't understand why you're going through this, you have to go to God and figure out why. And it's not always about praying or requesting. It's about repenting for how you've looked at it, and being humble about that, what God could be doing, even though you don't understand it. You don't understand what he's doing. It's showing you, like, okay, this is why this happened, and this is what this is happening for, and this is what God is leading me up to. So it always, every single time, it always comes together. It never fails. It never fails. And that's all, guys. So that's it. That's all. I'll be back with another video, and I'll talk to you guys. Love you.